Family, what's good with you, baby? Happy New Year, peace and blessings. Hope everyone's good out there. Hope everyone's, jumping off properly this year, taking off properly this year. And as always, just want to drop some things on you, man. For those that don't know, or for those that are unaware, however you want to say it. Simply word games. Word games is what has been played on us from the beginning of time. African people in America need to understand that we have bitten so far into Western culture that we have become clones of Western culture. And we have become, the American is the clone. We have become American clones. Great way to put it. Just understanding that the English language itself is a backwards paradigm. It's a curse. The original definition of the dictionary is book of spells. The original definition of the dictionary is book of spells. So that would change your whole perception of what's profane and what's cursing, this and that. But like I say, word games is something that they've been playing on us since the beginning of time, all the way from things like voodoo, in science fiction films, and scaring you away from voodoo, when the original definition of voodoo is a spiritual atom. You can't see a spirit, you can't see an atom. So it's literally talking about the work of the unseen. And in church, you call it faith, or you have to have faith in the unseen. In the black church, all people say you have to have faith in the unseen. So these two concepts go hand in hand, but because of our ignorance, we don't know, and people fear what they don't know. People fear what they don't understand. You understand? Just understanding, simple things, man. Like, why do your feet smell? Why do your feet smell and your nose runs? You feel me? Totally backwards. Why do your feet smell and your nose runs? A package on a ship can be called cargo, and a package on a car can be called a shipment. You can drive on a parkway and you park on a driveway. You understand? And this backwardness leaks itself into society all throughout. Just in the same way, simple things like pros and cons, right? We know that pros are supposed to be the good things, cons are the bad things. Then if that's the case, then it makes sense why they call it the Constitution, an institution of cons, right? Congress, progress for the cons. You know what I'm saying? The progress of the cons. Because if it was really the right thing, it would be called progress instead of Congress, I would think. It is all very interesting when you really can peep all of these things. And one of the main things people need to understand is this country is a corporation. America is a corporation. Every corporation has a president, a vice president, and a secretary. America has a president, a vice president, and a secretary. America is the biological child of Britain and Hitler psychology. Now, Britain, I say, because DC is just equivalent to the Vatican in Rome. It's just equivalent to the Vatican in Rome, or wherever the Vatican is exactly at. But the Vatican is just like DC in the parallel and in the aspect that it's not a part of London or wherever it sits. It's its own jurisdiction. DC is not a part of America or anything like that. DC is not a city or a state. But yet all of the laws of America come out of DC, out of a foreign entity. And that's why every state here is new something, new this, new that. New York, New Hampshire, New England, and all this shit, because all of the old ones are back home. The old York, the original York back home. The original Hampshire is back in London. You know, they even call it New England. You got a team called New England Patriots, for Christ's sakes. You know, all the way into, you know, so disrespectful to where they'll give the Mexicans hell and make them get a green card and, you know, give them all this hell for it to become citizens, but they'll make a state called New Mexico. Do you understand the taunting and how fucking disrespectful and fuck you that is? To give these people all this hell, shoot them up, kill them, and everything you do to keep them from coming to America, but you will make a state called New Mexico. Bro, that is the sickest shit, and nothing shows you the bullying and the outright disrespect that America has exhibited all throughout history, that this government has exhibited all throughout history. Nothing quite, you know, well, there are many things, but just in a bullying, carbon copy, stealing your shit aspect, this is what you have. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, all the way from American history, this whole country was taken by thieves. You know, so what do we, you know, what's gonna be the consequences for us for obeying the laws of the greatest thieves in human history, the greatest thieves and criminals and killers, pillagers, and rapists in human history? What is the consequence of us following these people and feeding into the shit that they say? You understand? I just really wanted to lay that on y'all right quick, man. I really did. And for those who, you know, at this point, for those who are, you know, looking for the answers, the way out, those who are awakening, understand that we can't be gentle, bro. You know, I always say that when I think about those who are asleep still, when I think about my brothers and sisters who are still sleeping out here, I think about sleep literally. You have to think about some of these things literally. And when you have, when you're asleep, when you have someone that's asleep, you can't wake them up. It would be very hard to wake them up if you just gently tug on him and say, "Hey, man, you got to get up, man. You know, it's 10:30, man. You got to be to work at 11." You know, more than likely they're not gonna listen to you. They're not gonna wake up. You know, if you're gentle trying to wake somebody up, it's not gonna happen. They're going back to sleep, dude. You know, getting up on their own accord. But if you rip the cover off them, and you point at the clock, bruh, you got to be to work in 20 minutes, bruh. You know what I'm saying? They gonna look at the clock and they gonna notice time and they gonna get up and they gonna make this shit happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with my people out here. I can't be gentle, man. I'm in the business of ripping the cover off my people so they can look at the clock and they can look at the clock of humanity and human history and see what fucking time it is, bruh. Bottom line, man. You know what I'm saying? And these are the main things we need to understand, man. You know, and with every mistake we make, these crackers and these crack ass niggas is tripling and quadrupling up. It's tripling and quadrupling up on every mistake we make. And we need to understand how, you know, the lack of accountability from the elders in our community has trickled down to the lack of accountability in the youth. You understand? The elders must understand and acknowledge how their ways have trickled down to the youth. All the way from, you know, like I say, when I was little, we always heard white folks got money because they don't mind driving this car forever. White folks got money because they don't mind wearing these shoes forever. White folks got money because they don't mind living in this apartment forever. Which we know that's bullshit, because white folks really got what they got because they don't mind being savage and cutthroat. You know what I'm saying? But let's say we did buy into that concept that white people are this just great conservative people. You know, if this is the case, then, you know, when you pull up on any black church in the nation, you have the finest cars sitting outside and the best dressed members in there, man. You know what I'm saying? But yet we look at our youth and we say, where in the hell do they get this spending $250 on shoes from? Black people in America, do you realize we are the most materialistic people on the planet? Really? We're really the most materialistic people on the planet. And to a degree, ain't nothing wrong with you know, wanting to look good. You know, ain't nothing wrong with wanting to look good. But when your look good produces the wealth and ultimately facilitates and, you know, promotes and enhances the wealth of your oppressor, then to which end, or to what end is your materialism really making you feel good? Or is it just a feel good thing, and it has nothing to do with, you know, spiritual elevation, has nothing to do with anything worthy of your essence? You know, these are the main things that we need to understand, man. We are the most materialistic people on the planet. Nobody is caught up with being fresh and looking good like we are, like black folks in America, really. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something that we need to acknowledge and be real with, man. We need to be real with all of our ways that have trickled down to the youth, because it's so unfair. It's so unfair to point the finger at the youth without taking accountability for ourselves, with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? It's so unfair, and no solutions will truly get done, because we have so many people pointing the finger at the youth, which, you know, everyone who points the finger at the youth, that continues to make this argument about the youth, really is really putting themselves out there, and they're really letting us know that they are still asleep, because anyone that's conscious understands the circle of life, which means that age does not guarantee maturity, which means that you can have, you know, immature elders who are stuck in their ways and dumb and, you know, just whatever, just as you have very, very mature young folks, man. So once you understand the circle of life, you understand that you can learn from anybody, and you learn to listen. You learn to give an honest ear to people. You know what I'm saying? And these are the main things that we must go over in our community. And we have to be honest with every single one of our mistakes and our blunders, you know, because it's our youth, it's snowballing into our youth, and it's affecting our youth. So first things first, that's exactly what we must do. And our mental illness starts all the way from literally the book of Genesis. You know, anybody who believes in a upright walking snake, then that's your problem right there. You know,